Buzzworthy Women podcast. Today's guest is Crystalynn Shelton, a licensed CPA, small business advisor, QuickBooks expert, and author. For more than 20 years, Crystalynn has had many career hats, from leading accounting departments for Future 500 companies like Paramount Pictures, Texaco, and Intuit, to teaching for more than a decade at UCLA, all while authoring Amazon bestseller Mastering QuickBooks and opening her own consulting business. She has no shortage of experience helping business owners successfully manage software technology that supports their business finance. Crystalynn, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I am terrific. Thank you so much for having me on your show today, Tori.
So you are a wizard when it comes to QuickBooks and money and finances for small business owners. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. I am a what you call the QuickBooks guru, the QuickBooks coach.
I
I
love
love
it.
wizard, however. I'm going to add that one to my list.
For sure. So tell us a little bit about you and how you got into this space and what motivated you to be this QuickBooks wizard.
Yeah, so I majored in accounting in school, graduated, started working in the corporate world, and I would say probably 8 years in, I started to feel like I was going to burn out. I was averaging probably anywhere from 65 to 70 hours a week. And it was just really exhausting. But I loved the field. I didn't want to get burned out. And so I started looking for other opportunities. And it just so happened that at the time I was working for Paramount Pictures and I was tasked with helping to upgrade our accounting software system. And so, being on that team, my responsibility was to actually create training materials and to train up my staff because I was managing the accounting department.
Yeah.
And so, what I didn't know was going to happen is I kind of got bit by the training bug and I really enjoyed doing that. And so, I decided I wanted to pursue that, but on a small business level. Did some research. I found out about a QuickBooks certification. I took that. And then while I still had my, corporate job, I also started to build up my business. So it was kind of like my side hustle. I
Mhm.
started seeing clients after hours during the weekday and on the weekend. I'm sure this probably may sound familiar to some of
Oh,
the people
yeah.
that are listening.
We've all
you
been there,
know, until
right?
until I got to a point where I felt comfortable that I could leave corporate and pursue my business full time. And so I did that in 2010. I offered payroll, bookkeeping training, you name it, I offered it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I started out doing it that way. And I love working with small business owners and teaching them and helping them to realize that you don't have to have an accounting or bookkeeping background to manage your own books, right?
Mhm.
So yeah.
I think it's interesting as a business owner and entrepreneur, finances or money or managing money is usually not the first thing that somebody comes to to that role with, right? That's not usually their superpower. And so it's
Right.
like for me it's like marketing, right? Like my specialty is marketing, and a lot of the people in my industry that connect with are in marketing as well, and finance and accounting and bookkeeping, all that stuff is like not necessarily foreign to us, but not something that we
Right.
enjoy doing or have a full understanding. And so I've done, so much reading just to educate myself, but I still
Yeah.
think that there's such a level that you have to get to with a professional that you can't do on your
Hmm.
own. And especially as you're
Yeah.
building a business, that's not the zone that you should be in if you're the business owner. If you're the CEO, the founder, the visionary, you need to be in your space and hire the right people to take care of
Yeah.
the finances, because that's such an integral part to business, right? Like if you don't have your finances in place, if you don't have everything, structured the right way, then it's like building a house without a foundation, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. I think a lot of people don't realize that it's going to be an investment, right? But it's going to be worth every penny, right?
Yeah.
To go ahead and partner with a CPA or accountant from the beginning and not wait like most people do until the books are a mess. And then you're like in emergency mode. And then at that point, you're probably going to end up paying a lot more
Yeah.
because at that point you need someone to clean things up and get you on the
Mm-hmm.
right track.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So, in your opinion, as a business owner, what's the right time for them to bring in a CPA or an accountant or somebody of that financial level?
Yeah, I actually recommend from the start. You need to partner with a CPA or an accountant. So it doesn't have to be a CPA, but I recommend you partner with that person because they can actually work with you to determine what accounting software is going to be right based on, what how you plan to run your business, what type of business you have, and those types of things.
Yeah.
So they can help you make that decision. They can actually set it up for you and they can actually train you or maybe your bookkeeper or virtual assistant on how to properly use that software.
Yeah.
And so I say the sooner, the better. Many business owners have heard, all of the quote unquote negative stats about, within the first 5 years, 50% of businesses fail. But what they may not have heard is that number actually goes up 89%, or not that number, but 89% of businesses who partner with an accountant or CPA and take their advice
Mm. That's
are,
key.
I always have to say that, and take their advice because you can meet with one and then say, I'm not going
Sure.
to do that.
Yeah.
Then 89% are more than likely to actually be successful.
That is so, I mean, that makes sense. Like totally makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think it's such a interesting number and statistic to look at, right? Because people, like you said, talk about like the first 5 years or after 5 years or
Yeah.
however that works. But really, like we said, if you build that foundation with the right people, the right tools, the right resources, the business is
Mm-hmm.
not guaranteed, but like more likely to succeed because of all of that.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
why do you
Absolutely.
think it is that people are so fearful of numbers, right? Like business owners are like, "Oh, maybe I'm not good with numbers and that sort of thing." So, why are people so
Yeah.
fearful of this side of the business?
I think it goes back to grade school. At least for me, it does. Because believe it or not, I math was my worst subject in school. Yes, I'm a licensed CPA now,
Yeah.
but math, I
Love
hate
it.
it. And the one thing I'll say is the math that we had to learn in school, and I'm referring to like high school, we had to do the calculus and the algebra and
Yeah.
that type of math. That's not what bookkeeping is.
Mm,
Bookkeeping, is really your addition and subtraction type math. And the best part about it is nowadays the accounting software out there like QuickBooks does all the math for you, right?
yeah.
So it's nothing to be afraid of. I think a lot of times, small business owners, at least the ones that come to me, have had a bad experience because they'll either have a CPA who kind of talks down to them or uses a lot of technical terms that they don't understand and they're afraid to ask, what does that mean? Because they don't want to appear to look like an idiot. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's like, you're not an idiot. You're paying this person to help manage your books. You have a right to ask whatever questions you have.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so that was one of my motivations for writing what's my fourth book now on this, which is Mastering QuickBooks 2023. I wanted it to be a book that was ideal for anyone who didn't have any kind of accounting or bookkeeping or numbers background. I
Yeah.
want that person to be able to pick up that book and run with it. And
Mhm.
so that was the goal.
Are there any books or authors that have inspired you in this avenue, the finance space?
I've always been a fan of the dummies books.
Yeah.
Like, you mentioned, marketing is your thing. Well, marketing is not my thing. So I know I have a dummies book on marketing. I'm sure I have one on Excel and on Word. Like, I love those books. And they were sort of my inspiration for making sure that I spell things out clearly and that I include a lot of screenshots to demonstrate, what I'm referring to in the software. So I would have to say, the Dummies series for sure. They're my favorite.
Oh yeah. I think everybody's had one at least sometime in their life, right?
If I were to turn this around and all the yellow you would
Oh
see for
yeah.
all the Dummies books I have
Love it.
on my bookshelf.
Have you heard of the book Profit First?
Yes.
And
I have, but just recently,
really,
I would say 3 months ago, I was at an accounting conference and a lot of people was talking about the book. So I downloaded it on my iPad and I started reading it, but I'm barely into it, but
yeah.
it's a great book so far.
I know it's interesting because I read that book trying to educate myself on, best practices and financing and that sort of thing.
Hmm.
And so I'm curious. I'd love to like chat with you after you read the book because it'd be interesting to get from your perspective your thoughts on the whole concept and framework of that profit first formula because it's such
Yeah,
an interesting concept to basically take profit first, right? And then you have
right.
percentages that you put towards different avenues of your business or whatever expenses you have and that sort of thing. So it's an interesting concept to really look at.
Yeah. It is. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to read it because the concept is interesting. And then everyone that I talked to that mentioned the book are like hardcore believers in that method. So I was
Yeah.
just like, wow, okay, I have to read this book and see what it's all about.
Yeah, totally. And we have to connect after you read it because I want to hear your
We
thoughts on
will.
it.
We'll have to. Yeah, I'm all for that.
Awesome. So you are really passionate. One of the things that you're doing to grow your business is educating other people, right? So doing
Mhm.
online courses, and so you're using that to help not only grow your business but to help other people succeed with their business. Can you talk about the education side of things that you're doing right now?
Yeah, so typically I'll spend my day in a scenario like this where I'm over Zoom and I'm meeting with a small business owner to sort of talk about their situation and come up with a plan to get them on the right track for their books. And so a lot of that typically will involve me answering questions that they might have, especially with things they don't understand.
Yeah.
And then again, like I mentioned, I use a lot of simple, easy to understand language to explain the different, um, just the different workflows and processes that you should have in place when it comes to bookkeeping, right?
Yeah.
And so I really enjoy that. Um, Way back when I first started my business, actually before I started my business, I landed an adjunct instructor position at UCLA Extension. And
Oh,
so that was 12 years ago. I still teach for them, even
awesome.
though I've moved home to Dallas. They were like, yeah, you can just teach all your classes online, not a problem. And I just love teaching and educating people. I love talking to my students who basically probably half of them are business owners.
Mm,
Half of them are like CPA candidates, accounting students that are pursuing the career. So
yeah.
it's so cool because I even get to mentor a lot of my students who are, wanting confirmation that this is a good path to take or a good career move.
Yeah.
And then I also meet with people who are looking for a career change. Bookkeeping is one of those businesses that's pretty much you can do virtually. So as
Yeah.
long as you have a laptop and an internet connection, you can work,
Right.
which is one of the things that I love about it. And so yeah, so prior to COVID, I might have gone to a client's office, and now it's very acceptable to, hey, let's meet over Zoom.
Right.
And clients quickly realize there's no difference in meeting over Zoom like this than you and I sitting next to each other
Hmm.
because you're going to share your desktop and I'm going to talk you through everything just like I would if we were face to face.
Absolutely.
So I like that. And we just set up some time on the calendar. They book coaching sessions and then we meet just to be, everyone's different in
Yeah.
terms of how long it takes them to get it. And then what I'll do for the first 3 months is I'll offer a service where I can come in and review the books, meaning I'm just going to log into their account and review it.
Yeah.
But I can do it at the end of the month, and then we can go over what you're doing well and where things are not so well, so you can make the corrections. Because the goal is I don't want my clients stressed out about tax season,
Oh my
and it
gosh.
seems like every time January gets here, it is like
I'm guilty.
a race to the finish. I
Right?
mean, first and foremost, they want to pull together 12 months worth of data
Mm,
in like a month. It's like, oh my goodness, no, you have to do this monthly.
right?
Let's take that old stress. Let's take all the stress out of this process.
It's like starting your diet for summer, like the month before summer, right? Or the week before you go on vacation or something like that. It's like, oh, I can do it, right? I'm just gonna
Exactly.
totally do it right now.
Exactly. So I think getting them to the point where they understand, oh, tax season doesn't have to be stressful. No, it does not.
No. That's good to hear. We all love to hear that, right? It doesn't have to be stressful. If you have the right,
Right.
you know, things in place and people to help you, it won't be that
Mm-hmm.
stress that you are anticipating.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You have better things to do than be stressed out in January and about taxes.
Yes. So I want to touch a little bit on kind of your leap of faith, right? Of, going from
Hmm.
corporate to your own business, and then now how you can help other business owners, right? I always use this quote that, serve the person you once were. And so really helping
Hmm.
people to get to a successful place in their business. So I'd love to hear kind of your insight on how you got to be where you are today to maybe motivate or inspire some other business owners.
Yeah, that's a great question. Because although I am, versed in the area of business finances, I had never had my own business before I went off on my own. And like I said, marketing was a weak area for me. The other mistake that I made, I would say was a big one, was not hiring someone, not getting help.
Mm,
So when I first went off on my own, I did all the work. I worked a ton of hours, which I didn't mind because I was just enjoying being my own boss, right?
yeah.
But I was working so much in my business, and I worked very little on setting up any kind of marketing plan or trying to get new business.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, I was doing well for 3 years with no marketing plan at all and no networking events. I wasn't doing any of that. I was getting a lot of my clients just via referrals from
Yeah.
existing clients. But then 3 years in, it seemed like I hit a wall. And it just seemed like things dried up. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? And so, believe it or not, I went back to corporate.
Wow.
So that was in January of 2013.
Okay.
And so and it just so happens Intuit, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they are the company that distributes QuickBooks.
Yes.
Well, they became a client of mine. They hired me to deliver training for their customer service reps that pick up the phone
Yeah.
and help small business owners troubleshoot issues in QuickBooks.
Right.
So they hired me as a contractor. And then, 3 months in, they were like, yeah, we want you to come on full time. And I was like, great, because I'm not making any money in my business anyway. And so I worked for them. I traveled all around to their different centers for 3 years until I got burnt out on traveling. And then
Yeah.
I was like, I'm done with this. And then I went back to my business. I
Yeah.
started doing my business again and made some big changes. I got help. It was just accounting interns, but they were hungry and ready to learn, and not top dollar, because they were like, well, we'll take this amount, and then we'll have some credit
Right.
for our degree. So I got some help, implemented some marketing, and yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm saying all that to say, hey, if you're struggling, it's normal. If
Yes.
you're like, okay, I gotta, come up with a different plan, that's okay too.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but I was so determined that I wanted to have my business and I wanted to be successful, that I knew when I went back to corporate that it was just going to be temporary, because my mindset was, this is just temporary.
Right. And I think
So
that
yeah.
the interesting thing, like you just mentioned, and kind of like to wrap it all up, is like being a business owner is a journey, right? And you have to learn
Yeah.
as you go the pieces that you need to put in place, and making sure that you surround yourself with the people who can help you succeed, right? So
Yes.
where you're weak in one area, you hire somebody who's strong in that area so that you can be strong in your zone of genius, and together you build an ecosystem of success for your business. And it's a journey, it's
Mm-hmm.
evolving, right? It's never going to be
Mm-hmm.
perfect or ready or fine tuned. I think it's always something that's going to evolve over time. And like you said,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of recognizing it, making the change, putting in the pieces that you need, and hit the ground running.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. And I didn't realize how stressed I was with
Mm.
trying to, even just the thought of putting together a marketing plan. I was just like stressed out about it, because I didn't want to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like my clients are stressed out about going into QuickBooks.
Right, right. Yeah, everyone has
Right?
their piece
It's
of
the same.
stress.
It's the same. And so yeah, so now I have a marketing manager. She does all that stuff. Now I still review things and approve them, because I think it's important for everything to have my brand and to be in my voice.
Right.
So, but at least she, takes it and runs. Once, we
Yeah.
talk about it, she comes up with it, and that is on her plate, which is wonderful. So I can focus on what I enjoy doing, which is meet
Yeah.
with my clients.
Absolutely. Well, it's been amazing talking to you, and thank you for taking the time to share your knowledge and insight, and your journey that you've been on, for your business. So I'd love to have you share how people can get in touch with you, or ways that they can connect with you to use you for helping them with their side of their business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a webpage that they can go to. It is crystallynshelton.com/podcast with an S. And on that page, there's a couple things. So there are a couple of checklists that they can download for free. One of them actually is called Your First 7 Days in QuickBooks. So it's a cool list that gives you an idea of what to do that first week in the software. So if you don't have an accountant or bookkeeper and you're basically bootstrapping in and trying to figure things out on your own, that checklist is perfect for you. It also references chapters within my book, Mastering QuickBooks 2023, where you can refer to get more details
Awesome.
on those tasks. And then the other thing I have on that page is my brand new online course. It's called QuickBooks Bootcamp. So excited about this course. As I had a lot of small business owners who they want to work with me, but in all honesty, they can't work with me during business hours because
Mm,
they're busy working in their business, which makes
yeah.
perfect sense. And so I thought it was important to create a course where I'm teaching them how to use QuickBooks, and they can log in at midnight if that's when they have free time and learn QuickBooks. And so for your guests, also, I have a promo code that they can use to get 10% off. And so it is called POD 2023. And so that's the code. It's on that page as well. So you don't have to worry about remembering it. And so if they wanted to, they can purchase the course from that page. Last but not least, anyone who just has questions for me, please send me an email at hello@crystallynshelton.com.
Awesome. And we'll make sure to put all the links and everything in the show notes so that people have easy access to it, and can definitely reach
Okay.
out and take advantage using your amazing talent and just, connecting with you and getting to know you as well. So thank you again for being a guest on the show.
Thank you so much, Tori.